Good afternoon, everybody. As you know, Stand Up to Cancer is an organization that raises funds. Let me share our mission statement to support research to detect, intercept, and treat cancers with the aspiration to cure all patients. Let me give you some more background. We are backed by a phenomenal scientific community, which includes 4 Nobel laureates, and over 45 scientific advisors. There you can see that our chair, Bill Nelson, is the Cancer Center Director at Johns Hopkins University. Our Vice Chair, John Carpton, is at City of Hope as the Cancer Center Director. And Arnie Levine is a giant in the field who discovered the first tumor suppressor, and he's at Princeton, at the Institute for Advanced Studies. And I was a member of Stand Up to Cancer's advisory committee for 15 years. In my for-profit world, I retired last year with the approval of my cell therapy drug to treat bone marrow transplantation, and my retirement lasted about 5 months, and I joined Stand Up to Cancer as its first chief scientist, and then was demoted in January to CEO. So I'm really happy to present what our accomplishments have been, and then tell you where we're going in the future. And it's a very bright future. Our portfolio is across all cancers, and we've raised over $800 million in real monies over their 15-year history, but we've leveraged that into almost double that to extend the possibilities for various therapies and funded cancer research. You can see that we cover all cancers. We have a great effort, of course, in pancreatic cancer, lung, breast, the big ones, but we also treat rare diseases and pediatrics. About 12% of our portfolio is in rare pediatric cancers. And of course, we back this up with high-level publications over time. We have over 100 partners that include other foundations, pharmaceutical and biotech, and we have raised those monies through these collaborations. I also want to give a shout out to our main partner that helps administer all our scientific grants, and that's the American Association for Cancer Research, AACR. And we have a global network. We're in not just in the US, we're in 11 different countries, and we partner and we support with our advocates many different call to arms. We were founded by the Entertainment Industry Foundation. 9 powerful women did this, and the special sauce of Stand Up to Cancer is our ability to message, to create public service announcements and awareness, and to amplify that with our access to Hollywood talent and celebrity. Over the years, we've made multiple breakthroughs that have actually changed the practice of medicine. I'm going to focus on just 2 examples, the rectal cancer trial and the pancreatic cancer trial. The radiation plus immunotherapy for sarcoma was presented just earlier this week, and it met its primary endpoint. It was presented at ASCO, the American Association for Clinical Oncology. But just to give you a taste, I wanted to show you that we have a very bold aspiration for the future. We want to detect cancer earlier with a deliberate intention of curing cancer before it becomes a metastatic disease. And we're funding research to try to reduce cancer mortality by 25% over the next 5 years and 50% over the next 10 years. And let me show you how we're going to tackle this. First of all, is it possible? And the answer is actually yes, because early detection in both prostate and breast cancer, and you can see over the last 50 years what has happened. With the ability to refine our testing abilities and catching the cancers early, we can lead to, we've reduced mortality by about 50%. So if that's true of these two difficult to treat diseases, it's true and applicable to all tumor types. And that includes the new modalities of immunotherapy and cancer vaccines. Let me further amplify. If you catch cancer in stage 1 or stage 2, you have a 90% chance of being cured by surgery and early treatments. If you are in stage 4 disease, you have about a 10% 5-year survival across the board. So again, early detection saves lives. So our future direction is going to deploy artificial intelligence and large language models as we multiplex large data sets, largely through liquid biopsies, but also saliva, sweat, other fluids that are obtainable with non-invasive techniques. We will develop predictive and diagnostic tests. And of course, to do all this, we are partnering with major IT firms and also hoping to partner continue to partner with companies, with large employee bases, pension funds, but of course also with the family office network. We had a summit on early detection and the use of AI to understand the diagnosis and treatment on May 3rd, just about a month ago, in Silicon Valley in Mountain View. And this was highly attended. We had about 80 participants of world experts in cancer diagnostics from industry and academia. And then we had also donors and our founders, as well as we cast a broad net to try to have a deep conversation about this strategy. And so this was our, how we navigated the day. We split up into working groups as well to look at diagnostics and early detection, to look at spatial pathology and other multi-omic approaches, and then even attacked the problem of medical records and developing algorithms. And one talk really showed how just examining the medical records, you could increase your prediction rate of who's going to develop pancreatic cancer. And then the goal of the summit was to establish this future direction and to fund what we call dream teams. These are typically teams that are multi-institutional, 3 to 5 major cancer centers and community centers that bring in all of the necessary skill sets and data scientists to evaluate omics, digital pathology, different sensor pathologies, medical records, wearables, and with AI expertise to integrate all of these data sets to develop simple algorithms that could exist as an app on an iPhone. And the key is to be able to develop point-of-care tests, either doctor's office or central labs, to be able to monitor patients non-invasively. I've mentioned liquid biopsies, but again, sweat and saliva as well. And we finished this day culminating with the parallel effort that occurred coincidentally when Bruce Ratner, a real estate developer in the New York area, also published this early detection, catching cancer when it's curable. So we didn't know each other, but I was developing and we were developing our scientific strategy when Bruce Ratner published his book to show all of the statistics about developed over the last 30 years that show how early detection can actually save lives. And then you see me in a fireside chat as we closed the meeting. And And so let me give you an example of what we've done just since that example. We designed a clinical trial in about 6 weeks where we're going to look at lung cancer. And this is to test the utility of the wearables and also looking at patient-reported outcomes. And the purpose of this is to let AI guide us while we do continuous monitoring. And the trial we designed was a late-line metastatic lung cancer with 130 patients, randomizing them to getting chemo plus enhanced monitoring with the devices versus chemo plus standard monitoring. And the endpoints include progression-free survival and overall safety. And I won't bother you with the statistics. So the next steps, we're meeting. There's going to be a meeting report, and we're going to publish it. It will have captured all of the salient points of the meeting. And then we are hoping to launch, to raise funds to launch these potential dream teams. It's about a $10 million typical dream team to get the full concept. The first such effort will be lung cancer early detection. And with that, we are formally partnered with Bruce Ratner and amplifying his message. He lost his brother to lung cancer, so we're taking on lung cancer as the first problem. But of course, early detection in melanoma, ovarian, breast, brain, pancreatic cancers, pediatric cancers. The more money we raise, the more we can launch this level of research. So I just want to thank everyone, and I'm open to questions.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about these, strategic alliances and other sources of capital for funding them? I mean, you said, I guess each one's going to cost $10 million, and can you just go back to the slide so we can take a look at that and then maybe take a deeper dive? Right, so right here,
Yeah.
So
let me explain. To do this efficiently, particularly for the rarer cancers, you need multiple institutions, and you need multiple skill sets from data scientists, computer scientists, people steeped with regulatory expertise to how to develop these diagnostics. And I said 10 million is your typical fully funded dream team. Now we can do this in stages. First, there's the discovery phase. Can you find the appropriate analytes in the blood or in sweat or saliva, and develop the algorithm that suggests that you may have a diagnostic tool to be able to do this. And that costs probably $3 to $4 million. That's the first part. That's the beginning of the experiment. The next is then to go and apply this in a clinical trial, in a phase 1 clinical trial, to validate these diagnostic tests. It's very important that we do that. Now, these typical dream teams take 3 years, so we don't have to raise all $10 million on day one. Again, it may be for certain partnerships and foundations or family office network partners that we take on a smaller portion. They're all milestone based, so you have to hit milestone to get the next tranche of capital. The other thing is all of our scientific advisory committee, as you've seen, we select the world experts, and we provide high touch, extensive oversight and consultation with the dream teams, so that if there are course corrections or budget reallocations, we can help facilitate that. So we're very active participants on doing all of that. In parallel, as I've mentioned, the PSAs that we can launch, the access to celebrity and to create awareness, also addresses the health equity problem, because barriers to screening exist. They're delineated very beautifully in Bruce Ratner's book. For example, we know that low-dose CT scanning in lung cancer really can pick up lung cancer in stage 1 and stage 2 disease, but only less than 5% of patients who should be getting these scans are getting these scans. And there's a huge barrier to logistics, insurance verification, setting up appointments, navigation, et cetera, for the prospective patient being screened. So we want to go to much simpler techniques, again, using liquid biopsies. And the best place to begin, if I may just finish with one thing, is patients who had disease, let's say locally advanced disease, but had a surgery and are likely to relapse. That's the easiest place to prove that our interventions will work.
Right. And so the subject matter you picked here, these are the most common cancers, or are they picked by severity or curability, or why have you picked the subjects here?
So they span from melanoma, one of the more curable cancers these days after immunotherapy, but there's still ovarian continues to defy us with very high mortality rates. And in breast cancer, which we now know is 12 diseases, it's the triple negative breast cancer, it's the BRCA carriers, brain cancers across the board, pancreatic cancers across the board are the most nefarious cancers. We're not limited to this. We have ongoing teams looking at pediatric cancers and really rare cancers. I mentioned that we announced the sarcoma studies, again, a rare cancer in adolescents. These soft tissue sarcomas are enormously difficult to treat and are chemo-refractory. So we used radiation and immunotherapy, and we saw magnificent results.
And what about, so I know you had this conference on AI. How did you guys, resolve this data issue, which is like, this quality issue of data in a lot of healthcare? Are you going to be collecting new data, or do you have new data sources accessible?
So we will go into retrospective data first, like we did with medical records, which are imperfect and sometimes poorly curated. We will develop, we can go to blood banks and get specimens and do the target discovery work up front. And then, as I say, that's the training set that AI will be able to multiplex. And then we do these prospective trials to validate the markers that we've uncovered.
Fantastic. Any questions here from the audience, or? Oh, yes.
And will they also look into already existing liquid biopsy technologies out there?
Yes.
So you look at other liquid biopsy.
So we're looking at cell-free DNA. We're looking at proteomics, methylated DNA. We're looking with, at our conference, we had vendors like Grail, Exact Sciences. We had Roche Diagnostics. We're working as a community to try to understand how early detection can be optimized, and ready to partner with any of these organizations to amplify, and have partnered with, for example, Exact Sciences has been a long-standing partner.
So I was referring to startups who might have that because they might have been a spin-off of Roche Diagnostics. I know of a liquid biopsy, very broad breast cancer screen. Early detection, they spun off. For example, ovarian cancer, there are also liquid biopsies out there already, very early detection, not yet launched because they have trouble fundraising. Would you look into those?
Yes, we would, and we would co-invest and try to help those companies reach their goals, and we would partner with them. And we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We know that there are cell-free DNA companies that specialize in Natera, Delphi, and others, Guardant Health. We do keep abreast of everything that's going on in startup companies as well, and we approach them and we look at ways for collaboration. This is something that pharma doesn't do. Typically, it's not their business model. They tend to work on later stage disease, and they look for sort of chronic therapies. And this is an area where the health economics is really not well worked out. The margins for diagnostics are not economically striking, and we want to understand that, and we want to kind of change the game here, because over the long run, why I think the future payers will be large employees. Imagine Microsoft with 100,000 employees, and their burden of healthcare coverage when their employees get develop any illness, but certainly cancer, which takes them out for many months at a time, and eventually doesn't and becomes an enormous burden on their budgets.
So actually, I mean, there's actually a conflict with pharmaceutical companies and treatments, right? So I guess the question is, Julian, are you looking for cures for cancer or treatments for cancer? I mean, because it seems like cures get into that non-financial aspect that was the problem with diagnostics, right?
Yeah.
People don't pay for diagnostics, they pay for the treatment.
So let me take you back to just one example. There's a new wave in chemotherapy, in immunotherapy. And I want to point you to the pancreatic cancer vaccine, a second from the bottom. We funded research at MSK to develop the first mRNA vaccine for the treatment of pancreatic cancer post-surgery, post the Whipple procedure, where it's locally advanced disease. You think you've removed the cancer, but there's a 70% chance that cancer will reemerge and the patient will relapse. And with that first endeavor, that vaccine showed a 50% cure rate in 16 patients. And it was so well received that now Genentech has taken this on and is doing the same trial, but in a randomized setting. So we want to be the sort of first movers of developing these interventions, these particularly vaccines, because I really believe we can actually cure the disease, not merely treat the disease.
Great. And Julian, I mean, at some point, I want to have a broader discussion about how to, broaden your community, right? And the functionality of the community as well. Because I think that's, you've got some broad plans here, and obviously that all costs money, and, to communicate, to bring people on board, to get more people with buy-in, and maybe that's a topic for.
So there are many companies, as was just alluded to by the question, that are trying to develop these diagnostic tools, et cetera, et cetera. But what we want to do is sort of be at the epicenter of this movement, because it is a movement, because we want to change the whole cancer paradigm to catching it early and curing it before it develops into a metastatic, uncontrollable disease. We don't stop working on the advanced cancers, but I think our results, and if we wanted to reduce mortality, we really have to treat cancer when it's first detected. Eventually, there will be full-blown prevention, because if you can find the high at-risk populations, we can develop those very same vaccines to pre-treat patients who turn 40 or 45, and they'll never see pancreatic cancer in their lives. Now, those will, that's a very long-term aspiration, but as I like to say, and pancreatic cancer is one that I've worked on for many years, I'd like to turn pancreatic cancer into polio.
Fantastic, great. Was there one more question, Jonathan?
I'm curious what you think about CRISPR therapies for things like women who are born with BRCA.
CRISPR therapy?
Yeah. So I think because it's a germline mutation, it's in every cell. It's certainly a promising technique. It will work. It has been shown to work in the laboratory, and it's just not yet been deployed in humans. But I'm sure it's coming as well. So there will be new technologies I can't even name, There was one talk that actually never got to the podium because the investigator couldn't make the meeting, couldn't make his flight. But even looking at things like quantum sensors and optical sensors and different, applications using physics and quantum computing to be able to ever improve the accuracy of our predictions.
It's fascinating. I think that we are on a threshold, I have a background in artificial intelligence myself, and we're on the threshold with quantum computing of real progress in therapeutics and in diagnostics because of AI. And you're gonna have these incredibly powerful computing machines around the corner. So this is a great place to be, Julian. So thanks so much for everything you have to talk about, and hopefully we'll see you in the near future and talk about ways to broaden the audience for you. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Marty, and thank you everyone for joining me today.
Great, thanks.